Alright, what's going on, guys? My name is Elky Boy, and this is a little meet the player here. We're gonna be introducing our first player, which is Sage here, and we're on the map Haven. I'm just gonna kind of show you her abilities to start, and then we can go into where I think she's played best on this map, and where I think maybe her utility is gonna be used. Alright, the first ability I want to get into is her C, or her most left ability. I just have all my abilities on the default button, so for this one it's going to be C. And that's going to be her wall.
Wall raised.
Her wall's really good for blocking off entrances to sites, or just to kind of corral the enemy into an area. You can put one down here at A long, or there's actually a little sneaky one you can put right here at A short that allows you to boost up on this box, and you can kind of peek around this box, and it also blocks off this entrance, so you actually can't get by this, but you can peek it as well if for some reason you fall down from here. Um, I, I feel like this is really good for just kind of, if you hear the enemy pushing, you just throw up this wall real quick, and you say, oh, they're coming.
Barrier
Throw up
created.
this wall. Oops.
Wall raised.
Throw up this wall, and then they get stopped. They have to break this, which they can do pretty easily, but it takes some time for your team to rotate. Once this is broken, if they break through it, her next ability, I would say, that is extremely helpful for slowing the enemy is her slow. That's her Q. You kind of throw it down, and once it hits the ground, it'll slow, and anyone who walks on it will, one, make all this noise unless you're shooting, and also just be so much slower to get through any areas. There's actually a pretty nice combo you can do with her and one of the other characters where you slow, and then when all the characters are stuck on this, you can kind of just ulti down on them and just get rid of them pretty much. And I've had this happen to me a couple times, and I've done it to a couple people, and it is pretty frustrating to play against, but also really OP. Hard to execute for sure though. Alright, her next ability is her E. This is her heal. So you can do two things with this. You can left click to actually heal one of your teammates. And as you can see, I've lost some health. If you actually right click, you can just heal yourself. And this will pretty much heal you from 1 HP to 100 as long as you're not taking any damage. Any damage you're taking while you're healing will automatically stop your heal for a second or two before it'll start healing you again. So you really want to wait when you heal yourself before you go back into combat until your health is fully healed, or at least good enough that you can take a fight. You don't want to heal and then immediately start taking a fight because your health isn't going to regenerate that quickly. And one more thing I actually wanted to note, I kind of forgot to mention, her C, the wall that I was talking about before, really, really strong. You can actually turn it if you hold right click and you move your mouse side to side. You can turn this pretty well to whatever angle you kind of want to have. And it just helps when, you know, you're at a weird angle, like for say, let's say, let's get rid of this wall real quick. Okay, let's say you're approaching this and you switch it up, and this is just not going to be a good wall. If you quickly right click,
Barrier created.
quickly change that so it matches a little bit better where you want to align it.
Barrier created.
And that's just super helpful for kind of quick block offs. You don't have to just click C and you have only two options. You can kind of hit that right button and rotate it a little bit. And her last ability, I wish I had a teammate to show you guys this. It's just a revive. Basically, any teammate, if you see their body, you can run over to them and click it, and they'll just be revived immediately. Super helpful. It's one of the strongest abilities in the game because it allows you to bring back a teammate, which is just so valuable. But you got to be careful. If your teammate is out in the open, it does take a second or two for them to actually respawn. And if they're, let's say they died here, if you try and revive them, any enemies that are out here, they're just going to immediately shoot that person. Which you don't want to do. It's kind of a waste of abilities. There is a way that you can trade off of that, but your teammates aren't going to like if you're just using their bodies to trade with. That's for sure. Alright. I just want to get into where I think she's strongest that is Sage on this map, which I actually think is B site. B site is really hard to kind of hold if you don't have something like this wall that you can just immediately block off entrance to. It people can just kind of rush through this, and if you're not prepared, they're just gonna storm take the site, and your teammates are gonna have time to rotate. But by the time they're here, they're already on site planting, all that fun stuff. So I actually think she's best used in mid, especially because with the wall, there's a couple different placements you can have for it. Sorry, I just wanted to get rid of that wall. So if you do that little rotate we were talking about earlier, there's two ways you can actually use this. You can have it so that it's close enough you can... Oh, well, I missed my jump. It's close enough that you can jump on top and you can actually peek here. Or if you wanted, you could just bring it up and you can actually get onto these boxes. And it just gives you a good height advantage for peeking any angles. And you can go back here, peek some angles, get a little spray going. And it's just a little off angle that, you know, some people aren't going to necessarily expect. And if they are, if you're doing it every round and they start to expect it, change it up. Maybe you start on this side where you're constantly going, you know, from the left over here and you're always peeking this way. Maybe you just change it up, peek from this side. Or hold back and, you know, wait for them to push, and you have this huge angle up here that you can hold. And some people aren't checking it because, you know, they see a Sage, they're not thinking that she has any height advantage, and she does. She can get up way high. You can even peek here if you have an op. You can do a lot of things with her B site, which is why I think she's most utilized here. Now, like I was saying, I think she's most utilized on B site, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she's only useful on B site. You know, she definitely can be played other sites. I just think that's where she's strongest. For instance, if you want, you could actually play her up on A long. You could put a wall down. You can grab the ult orb. That way you can get your ult up, and you can also slow any enemies coming. You know, if you want, you can just do it back here. I showed you guys that cool little one you can do over on this site where you can block it off, boost up. You know, there's a lot of different places she can be played on this map. I just think B is one of her strongest. So the last site that you're going to be playing her is obviously C. You can play her garage. There used to be a cool little boost you could do here and peek over this, but they've since added this little curtain so that you can't do anymore. You still could spray it, and it does block off this little entrance here, but it's not as powerful as it once used to be. So I don't think she's very good here. I feel like a breach player is actually best utilized here just because it's such a small room, and their Q can kind of knock everyone up or confuse them, and then their ult can knock everybody up, and then you can just have free reign of your choice of pickings. You can have everyone knocked up and just free shoot them. But I definitely think if you're gonna play her on a site. You can always have, you know, the C long in case they start pushing and you need your teammates to rotate. Usually you're gonna have a garage guy, but the person playing garage probably should keep holding garage because you don't want them to rotate over and the guys from garage push through, and now you're trapped just 2-on-5, like trying to fight off while everyone else is rotating from A and B. So usually you'll have your B people or B player rotate while you wall them off. You can also kind of control the site when you're on attacking side. Saving your wall on attack is probably one of the strongest things you can do. Actually, same for defense. There's been a lot of times where there's a bomb planted and, you know, it's a 1v, you know, so many people situation, and I can just wall off me from the bomb, me and the bomb, and then just start defusing it. And it's really powerful to save your wall if you can help it. That's why when you're playing mid, I see a lot of players do this where they'll actually wall this off pretty much at the beginning of the round. 140, they'll wall it off. It's not that it's bad or it's wrong. I just don't agree with it. I feel like saving your wall until you actually hear them pushing and actually moving up or trying to take a site can be so helpful because the wall only lasts, you know, like 30 seconds or so. And that's only if they don't start hitting at it. Um, so try to save her wall as much as you can. That being said, don't not use it because you're saying you want to save it, but there's been a lot of situations I'll say that I wish I would have had my wall, and there's a lot of situations where I do, where I'm coming to plant and I know the guy is C long, or I'm coming to defuse. I know the guy's C long, and I'll just wall this off, immediately start defusing, and they'll just stand there going, well, what do I do now? I have to break this wall, and the person's defusing. There, I can get this to half at least before I have to peek this, and now, I have 4 seconds off the bomb already. It's really useful to keep her abilities, or especially her wall, up as long as you can. And I will say this, I think if you had to choose between, any of her abilities, mostly the Q, obviously, because it's the only one you can buy, but if you have to choose between getting an extra Q or getting her wall, I would pretty much always choose her wall. It's that strong. It's probably one of the strongest utilities in the game. And the other I would say is her revive. So she's one of those characters that is really strong and really good to learn. I highly recommend learning her. If you watch Hiko's tier list, he has her at like I think an S, but he argues that she could be even higher than that. She's a really good character. So I hope you guys have met the character here and enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you do. And come check me out. I'm on twitch.tv/elkyboy, and I'll leave a link in the description. Peace out, everybody.